you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know.
Boxing insiders are sounding off, and most say Jake Paul doesn't stand a chance against Gervonta Tank Davis. Shakur Stevenson broke it down clearly. Jake's size won't save him. Tank's experience, skill, and fight IQ are simply on another level. Stevenson predicts Tank won't need a knockout. He'll outbox Jake from start to finish and walk away with a clear decision win.
Difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and say he's got good power. Not even, and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is, he's been boxing his whole life, been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just gonna knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no, nah, that ain't really like, I mean, like I said, here's the thing, like I got two sides of me when it comes down to it. I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Showbiz The Adult reminded fans that Tank has already handled taller, stronger fighters like Ryan Garcia. Ryan had the height, the speed, and the flash, but Tank still figured him out and shut him down. If he could close the distance on Garcia, Jake Paul is no exception. Showbiz says boxing isn't about size, it's about timing, distance, and IQ. And that's where Tank reigns supreme. Once Jake steps inside that ring, he'll realize just how sharp Tank really is.
See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's scared. And let me tell you this too. I looked at I'm sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach him too. He reached Ryan Garcia. He reached Barrios. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him. I saw Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I want to say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Baumgartner, shout out to you, girl. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3 minute, 12 rounds is Alicia Baumgartner. And I really know if I have a great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. Because, what's her name, Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia. So that's a perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Baumgartner into late water, see what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, what he was just making all these implications that's going to be scripted. When he said, you're paying me, and then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra. And then he said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Chris Algieri praised Gervonta Davis for his ability to light up boxing every time he fights. He said Tank brings energy that pulls both hardcore fans and casual viewers back to the sport. And while Jake Paul isn't as skilled, Algieri admitted he's also helped boxing's popularity explode by reaching new audiences. In his view, both men, in totally different ways, have played big roles in keeping boxing alive and exciting.
About the face of boxing could be Jake Paul soon. And the face of boxing is basically
Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell, and if people tune in, how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again,
Truly,
these are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and then making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude, is unfortunate. Okay, so, it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, great fighter, and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set, and all over your phone, and all over everything. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about the shoe.
Charleston White, however, isn't buying the Jake Paul hype. He slammed Jake's fights as pure entertainment, not real boxing. According to him, every match Jake's had has been carefully staged for clicks and cash. Charleston says Jake has never faced a real top-tier boxer, and if he ever meets Gervonta Davis, that truth will hit hard. Tank's world-class experience would expose Jake's lack of real depth. For Charleston, social media buzz can't replace true legacy.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him. And with these 12-ounce gloves on top of Gervonta Davis's hands, which is bigger, 2 ounces bigger, I do believe.
Legendary trainer Teddy Atlas compared a potential Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight to when Logan Paul stepped in with Floyd Mayweather. He said Jake might have the size, but Tank's mastery of rhythm and control is what wins fights. Tank moves with precision. Every punch, every step has purpose. Atlas explained that while Jake's big and powerful, he lacks the ring instincts and awareness that only years of elite competition can build.
So I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch. And he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. So what if? What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're gonna find out if he can dance. Whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's gonna sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else that just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Bang!
Showbiz the Adult also highlighted Tank's quiet confidence outside the ring. He said Tank might not be flashy with words, but his body language says everything. No fear, no pressure, just focus. Showbiz pointed out that Jake Paul may dominate social media, but Tank doesn't need marketing to intimidate opponents. His calm, controlled energy is what makes him dangerous. A silent killer who lets his fists do the talking.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm going to whoop your ass, I'm going to beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had the clowns coming out.
Still, some analysts warn fans not to underestimate Jake's size advantage. They remind everyone that weight classes exist for a reason. Tank's power is lethal at 135, but Jake naturally walks around near 190. That's a big difference in reach, muscle, and durability. Even if Tank lands clean, they argue Jake might be able to absorb those shots differently. Physics, after all, is hard to ignore.
All of a sudden, we want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think.
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying. He's
6'1", 205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. 135 pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30 pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once. No. He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake and Tank.
Despite the doubts, Jake Paul's presence continues to fuel excitement in boxing. Love him or hate him, people watch. Every fight he's in becomes a global conversation. Some call it a money grab. Others call it a marketing masterpiece. But one thing's for sure, Jake knows how to make people tune in. That unpredictability, will he win or finally lose, is what keeps boxing fans talking and the sport buzzing again.
A lot of people said, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Or Gervonta might get thumped up, Hey! If he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
British boxer Dave Allen offered a middle ground view. He admitted Jake's past fights against Mike Tyson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. felt like stunts, but he believes this matchup with Gervonta could be different. Allen said as long as it stays safe and entertaining, it's a win for boxing. Even if Jake isn't elite, the hype brings fans in and the conversation keeps the sport alive.
In an exhibition. Thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level. Like, you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. But the Mike Tyson fight I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10-11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same, that they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff, I won't really watch any of it. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level, I think he works really hard, I think he trains hard, and I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. His experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is that having a rematch with the fella he got a draw with? Why is he not fighting?
This fight has been building for years. Gervonta Davis has mentioned Jake Paul multiple times, teasing fans about a possible showdown. Now, those teases are becoming real talks. Both fighters have traded words online and the tension is growing. Tank wants to expose Jake's flaws, while Jake sees this as his biggest test yet, a chance to prove he belongs with true boxers.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beats his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer, OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is, I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old, and isn't half his weight.
The final debate among experts centers on power. Tank's knockout strength is legendary in the lighter divisions, but can it hold up against Jake's size? Analysts say a punch that drops a 135-pounder might not even faze a 200-pound man. Jake's reach and durability could neutralize Tank's usual weapons. Still, no one doubts Tank's skill, only whether his power will translate against a much bigger opponent.
Yeah, but even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this where's the idea that Gervonta's even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Like, okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd. But he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals, and when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of staged fight bullshit, which these fights aren't staged, that's just, it's at that level, it's almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate
perpetuating the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is, I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. Then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, these fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight.
And that's it for today's video. Whether you're Team Tank or Team Jake, this showdown has the boxing world buzzing. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more fight updates, and drop your predictions in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned for more fight talk.